This story centers on a fascinating character, a visionary founder who had no prior training or even experience in making cars. His name is Eric Li. His first business venture was when he was just 19 years old as a photographer. Now they're selling over 3 million cars per year globally. They own new brands like Polestar, Lynk & Co, Zeekr, Smart, and brands with storied histories like London Electric Taxi Company, Lotus, and Volvo. This video is about the real story of the origins and ascent of Geely. But before that, we're gonna head 200 kilometers away from Hangzhou to a city that is ground zero for Geely. That's Taizhou, and we're gonna see exactly what happened from the very beginning. To uncover the roots of Geely, we need to go back almost 40 years to 1986. Back then, things looked quite different. China was still opening up. It was the dawn of a new era. Some cities were emerging as cradles of this new China, commercial and industrial hubs. Taizhou happened to be one of them. It had several things going for it. First, a strategic location on the coast, perfect for export and manufacturing, and also close to other centers of activity like Ningbo, Wenzhou, and Shanghai. Second, has more to do with the people. This delta has a penchant for producing incredible entrepreneurs who would go on to shape the new China. One such person in Taizhou, you guessed it, Eric Li, the central character in Geely's story. This room I'm inside is truly a lens into Geely's past and Eric's early ventures, even predating Geely. Eric's first venture was photography. He bought a camera, walked the streets of Taizhou shooting photos for others, and saved up enough to open his own photo studio. After photography, Eric pivoted to completely different businesses. First, he went on to manufacture and sell refrigerator parts and then moving up to producing whole refrigerators. Then, he moved into manufacturing aluminum magnesium panels. A common theme with Eric is he's not afraid to be the underdog, going up against bigger, more established players. Remember that first quote, "Just give me a chance to fail." That's all that Eric wanted. Setbacks did happen. Due to policy changes, he was forced to leave the refrigerator industry. A failure? Maybe, but also a chance to set his sights on a brand new venture. A new business came by chance to Eric in 1993. By this time, his factory workers were earning more money, and one of them used his savings to buy a Yamaha motorcycle. But actually one day the motorcycle got into an accident, and the motorcycle parts were transported to the warehouse at the factory, and Eric and his brother inspected it and realized, actually this is not that difficult to assemble and manufacture for themselves. So they decided to make motorcycles. It was an instant success. They sold 300,000 bikes within 2 years' time. But there still was something missing from Eric's story. He had a dream to tackle something bigger and more ambitious. The stage was set for Geely to make automobiles. This is what Geely's modern production facilities look like. State-of-the-art, modern, as advanced as you'll find anywhere. But none of this was here when Eric decided to enter the car market. They had to start completely from scratch with no experience making cars. Up until now, Eric had conquered engineering challenges in each of his previous ventures, so how hard could it be? There was huge excitement and determination within Geely to become China's first privately owned auto brand. Someone who understands this period as well as anyone is Geely's Senior Vice President and longtime veteran employee, Miss Zhang.
吉利是1997年进入汽车行业，当时呢，确实在资金、技术、人才方面，吉利都是比较匮乏的。所以当时进入汽车行业的时候呢，可想而知我们的困难是多大。但是李书福董事长当时就提出来，我们汽车发展轿车产业的这样一个技术路线，就是先描红，再写字。 先学走路，再学跑步，先从低端做起，从零部件做起，再去做高端。
Eventually, Geely managed to manufacture its very first car. Geely 1 was built and shown off for the first time. The problem was, well, there were a lot of problems actually. You may be asking why this car looks eerily similar to a Mercedes-Benz, and the reason for that is it combines a copy of a Mercedes-Benz body with a chassis from a Hongqi while finding suppliers from else for the rest of the parts. The icing on the cake is that Eric himself flew an engine all the way from Hong Kong back here and used it in the production of Geely 1. So the final result is this kind of Frankenstein car with a bunch of different parts, all sort of incompatible with each other. There was a dark joke circulating inside Geely about Geely 1. Everything makes noise except the horn. So for most people on Earth, the whole experience surrounding Geely 1 would be perceived to be a failure, but not for Eric. Actually, for him, he saw this as a deeply clarifying moment that would set Geely on the right path going forward. Geely from now on would be about producing affordable, reliable cars of really high quality. The first of which was the Geely Haoqing.
所以当时在97年的时候，桑塔纳卖20多万，像捷达和富康都卖10几万的时候，吉利提出来的是价格5万，然后油耗5升，能坐5人的这么一个3-5造车目标，彻底就打破了这个3大合资企业对中国轿车市场的价格垄断、市场垄断，使这些官车奢侈品变成老百姓买得起的消费品。
Even though Haoqing had a low price point, it was essential to develop a reputation for quality. In fact, the first batch of Haoqings off the assembly line didn't meet Eric's quality standards, so he destroyed all of them. Thanks to this low-cost strategy, Geely became a leading brand in the sedan category in China. And it was around this time Geely wanted to see and learn from other global brands. The perfect opportunity happened in 2005. Geely was invited to take part in the Frankfurt Auto Show. This was the very first time ever a Chinese brand was invited. Geely was super proud to be here and represent its Chinese roots. But unexpectedly, this created a bit of controversy back home for Geely.
这个呢是很多的国内的媒体都哗然了，他认为中国企业要参加法兰克福车展，怎么也轮不到吉利呀？为什么吉利去参加车展了？而且他们认为吉利参加车展，到底是给中国汽车产业长脸了还是丢脸了？就是展开这么一个讨论，所以都是不看好的。
So after Geely made its appearance at the Frankfurt Auto Show, Geely was clearly an established brand, but it was still a long way away from being a world-class leading brand. And in order to get there, Geely had to go from selling a mere 200,000 vehicles annually to 2 million. Only by doing that, in Eric's mind, could they avoid being swallowed up by bigger fish in the industry. This required a deep strategic transformation that they called the Ningbo Declaration. Geely would move from being a low-cost producer to becoming an all-around technology leader with a diverse range of product lines to appeal to multiple market segments. There were two reasons for this transformation. First, it was a response to changing consumer preferences in China. China's economic miracle created a new class of consumers with more discerning tastes. They had a higher standard for design, features, and technology. Geely would build cars for them. Second, to get to that 2 million target, Geely needed to expand into brand new market segments, not stick to making economical cars alone. Around this time, something happened that gave Geely a golden, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to advance their new strategy. In 2008, a financial crisis hit the global economy. Many global automakers were on the brink, but Geely was relatively insulated from its effects. The time was right to make a bold, daring move. Geely was going to buy the legendary Volvo brand. There is something special about Volvo. It's quirky, eccentric, it's synonymous with safety. They quite literally invented the three-point seatbelt. They pioneered a Scandinavian style of design that lives on today. Their ads are in a class of their own. I still remember them growing up. It's a car company with a soul. Their owners are not just customers, they're die-hard fans. With all that legacy, how on earth would Geely, with no international business, be able to make this work? No Chinese car company had meaningful global business at this time. It was far from certain this merger would work. In fact, many media voices and even Eric's own inner circle had their doubts. But in the end, he convinced them to back his vision. Eric held a board meeting and his management team in unison agreed to support his decision. And so in 2010, Geely fully acquired Volvo from Ford. Today, the merger is seen as a smashing success. So much so, it is taught by many business schools as a case study. The numbers speak for themselves. Volvo has soared since the acquisition. To understand how exactly Geely defied expectations to make this a successful merger, I've reached out to Mark from Inside China Auto, a foremost expert on China's auto landscape. Hello, Mark. How's it going?
Hello. I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I'm calling in from the back of a 009 Grand. You're currently appearing on the massive 43-inch screen in the back. And yeah, let's get into it. I wanted to tap your knowledge of the Chinese auto market, specifically around the Geely-Volvo merger. And of course, hindsight is always perfect. But at the time, there was a lot of people that were deeply skeptical about this merger, thinking that the cultures, the management systems, of course, would never be compatible together. But that proved to be wrong, and it turned out to be, of course, a stroke of genius. And I wanted to get your opinion on why do you think this was such a win-win for both brands?
Yeah, well, I think from Geely's side in particular, there were two things that they got from the acquisition with Volvo. One of which was the brand. Volvo, of course, been around for almost a century. Really strong brand, very strong identity. And with the Chinese car market, really still I would say a fledgling stage about 2010. You know, they didn't have anything like the level of professionalism or kind of reputation on the global stage as they have now. Buying into Volvo really sort of gave Geely the opportunity to be aligned with a really well-respected, really well-trusted international brand, which then kind of gave them the credibility that their engineering in future, the safety of their products would go up incredibly since then. And you can see that has actually been borne out in the results, obviously with the Euro NCAP scores since then in recent years for the Geely products and Geely Group products that have gone abroad. Those scores are super high and people are really starting to see the level of engineering. And it was the level of engineering that was the second part that they got from Volvo. Volvo being such a trusted brand, reliable brand, and obviously the pinnacle of safety, considered one of, if not the safest car brands in the world. Chinese consumers in particular, one of the things that they struggled with to begin with was trusting in the safety of their own brands. And you can see now that the reputation with Geely Group products for incredible safety, that has really helped Geely. And a lot of that came from purchasing Volvo, understanding what Volvo did, all the engineering and the smart ideas that they put into safety in their cars, and that's really transmitted into sales and products for Geely now.
All right, thanks, Mark. Take care. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you found this story of Geely's history as fascinating as I did to learn about. In our next videos, we're going to be exploring all about the Zeekr brand, which of course we now know is standing on the shoulders of a true giant, which is the Geely Group. So see you in the next video and take care, guys.